Good evening, friends, and welcome to yet another awesome session of Mindful Living.
Good
We
evening.
really, good evening. We really appreciate your taking out time and joining us on a weekday. All the sessions of Mindful Living are guaranteed to improve the quality of life, and today's session is no exception. Our subconscious mind is a million times more powerful than the conscious mind, and it can help us what we want in our life. Please type yes if any of these statements resonate with you, and type yes as many times as it works for you. Would you like to get promoted in 2023? Would you like to earn more in 2023 compared to 2022? I already see some smiles. Would you like to be healthier in 2023? Would you like to be happier in 2023? Please type yes for all these statements that resonate with you. Would you like to have better relationships in 2023? Friends, if your answer to yes or more is yes to any of these statements, then you are at the right place at the right time. Because in our session today, we are going to share with you how you can get from where you are to where you want to go, basis by using the power of our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind, as I mentioned earlier, is a million times more powerful than our conscious mind. Our subconscious mind can process data at 40 million bits per second from the environment that is around us, compared to the conscious mind, which can process only at speed of 40 bits per minute per second. And that is the reason, that it is becomes very imperative for us to tap into the power of subconscious mind. And who better than Dr. Nupur Agarwal to share with us about the power of subconscious mind. Dr. Nupur Agarwal has been working with the NHS hospital in London for last 5 years, offering her services to the cancer patients. Her work has been published and has won rewards. She's a medical doctor who has transitioned into mind-body medicine. She's also a certified meditation teacher, specializing in techniques like medical hypnosis for subconscious mind reprogramming. She's also a Reiki master and offers one-to-one coaching and group workshops on mind-body healing. Dr. Nupur, welcome to the session.
Thank you so much, Ashish. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's joined us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nupur. Friends, is any one of you joining a mindful living session for the first time? If you're joining our session for the first time, please type FT in the chat box. If you are attending a mindful living session for the first time, thank you. Thank you, Narayan. Thank you, Mohan. Thank you. Thank you, Rekha. So many of you are joining our session for the first time. So allow me to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I am the founder of Mindful Living. I started Mindful Living in 2018. Prior to that, I worked in the corporate sector in senior management roles with organizations like Tata AIG, Future Generali, Marsh, HCL Healthcare, and Healthcare at Home for over 25 years. During the years of my working in the corporate sector, I saw how stressed the employees in the corporate sector are, and how this stress is taking a toll on their health, happiness, and well-being. Being a certified mindfulness teacher myself, I thought the message of living consciously needs to be taken to the corporate sector, and with a mission to help and impact the life of 1 million working professionals, I set up Mindful Living in 2018. In the last 5 years, we've conducted over 300 sessions, which has touched the lives of more than 10,000 employees in the leading organizations like Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, IBM, EXL, Signify, Airbnb, HDFC Life, Kotak Life, and many other organizations. The session today is a part of the Mindful Living Community Initiative started during the COVID times in April 2020. Few of my friends requested me to conduct a mindfulness session for them to help them deal with the stress and anxiety which the lockdown was causing. One thing led to the other, and today we have become a group of 3,000 people who connect every weekend to learn and practice about living consciously. This is a very safe community, and we will share the invite with you to join the community during the course of the session. Please feel free to join. We have no religious or political agenda, and everybody respects each other. So it's a very safe place to join and learn about practicing mindful living. This is a very small group today. So I will urge all of you to keep your cameras on and stay actively engaged by using the reactions button in the toolbar. Clap, show thumbs up, show love. Whenever Dr. Nupur shares something that resonates with you, we will have question answers towards the end of the session, but stay engaged. Keep sharing your queries in the chat. And on that note, I would like to invite Dr. Nupur to take the session forward.
Thank you, Ashish, and a very warm welcome once again. Some of the faces are very familiar. Some of the faces are new. So to everybody, and I'd like to also start by saying a very happy new year to you all. Happy New Year. It's a privilege and an honor to actually be hosting for Mindful Living, because the work that Ashish and Mindful Living have been doing over many years is commendable. It takes a lot of commitment to be conducting sessions without a break, week after week, getting speakers together with such amazing topics. And with the sole intention of creating a more mindful community, because at Mindful Living, the ethos is that all of us are a spark of light, and if we can embody that within us, we can really spread it in our families, in our communities. So I would like to thank Ashish for this beautiful community and for all the work that goes to create this. Also, because it is New Year, Ashish and I thought, why not start this with one of my favorite topics, which is subconscious mind reprogramming. This is a space that I have been working on in the last 7 years, very actively. And before that, it was many years of research, many years of learnings from my own patients. And that's why we thought we are entering 2023. And we all start our years with New Year resolutions, and some of us may still be doing it, but we don't understand what really goes behind, ensuring that our New Year resolutions come to life. What is it that is the most important aspect of manifesting our desires and creating our life? And that's why we thought, why not launch this program early on in the year? So with that, I'd like to share my presentation with you. And as Ashish said, feel free to drop in questions, queries. I may not be very actively taking them up during my discussion with you right now, but I will definitely be taking them towards the end of the session. I would also encourage everybody to keep a pen and paper with them, because this is going to be a very, very information-rich session. So you might like to make notes. So please go ahead and get a pen and a paper if you don't already have one. And just ensure that everybody is muted so that we don't have any background sounds in recording. The recording will be shared with you all. So in case you miss anything, you'll obviously have it. Right. If I can just request Mohan to mute herself, please. Thank you. All right, wonderful. So I would like to begin by bringing your attention on this picture. This is a picture that seems very simple, but it's actually representing not only the aspects of our brain, which are in actually two hemispheres. So for those of us who are not very medically or biologically aware, our brains look like a walnut. So we have two halves of a walnut. Similarly, our brain has two hemispheres, which is the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. This is almost like showing us a split of our own cross section of our own brains and our faces. And in between that is a very wonderful figure, which is like a matrix. It is the blueprint of a personality which is existing somewhere in the matrix. And what do these words mean? Blueprint, matrix. And what is this happening? What is being created? Something else is being created out of these two halves. So hold on to that question, and we will be addressing that as we go deeper into our discussion. I'd like to start with my journey. As Ashish very kindly shared about my experience and my medical background. Very conventionally, I started like most of us who are in from medical field start. We do graduation, we do our post-graduation. Between our undergraduation and post-graduation, we are working. We are also training to crack our postgraduate entrance exams. And then when you are doing a specialist training, for me, that was in oral medicine and radiology. And I was working very closely with oral cancer. It was my privilege to meet certain patients who really sparked a kind of epiphany in me that spoke to me by telling me that some of my patients who had a very similar diagnosis were healing differently from other patients. We say a word called prognosis. Prognosis means that how well will they feel. It's almost like a prediction of how much can they heal from maybe a stage 4 or a stage 3 cancer. And what I was realizing was that there was an inherent tendency, there was a different way of processing information for those patients who were showing a very, very positive rate of healing. Their mindsets, their attitude, and their way of processing information was very different. The treatment offered to them was quite similar. And this perhaps wouldn't have intrigued somebody else, but for me, it was very, very life-altering because it led me to research that is there something that can be done to help patients heal beyond the medicine and the surgery, which they are anyways getting, beyond the obvious medical help. And very quickly during those years of I'm talking almost about, I'm going back 15, 20 years back, what happened was I came across a book by Dr. Brian Weiss. And this is a book that is Many Lives, Many Masters. And in this book, he's a psychiatrist. He's a very, very qualified and from one of the premier institutes of the world. He's a psychiatrist who's working with a patient with very, very deep depressive traits and multiple aspects of anxiety and so many other issues. And in this patient, in this book by Dr. Brian Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters, his patient, he's trying many modalities with her. He's trying to counsel. He's also trying other modalities. In one of the sessions of hypnosis, his patient regresses. And from there on starts a series of healings that follow very organically. For Dr. Brian Weiss, this was a first time that a patient had regressed so deeply in hypnosis. And how did this change me is because I didn't even know about hypnosis. It was not something that was taught to us in our training. In a conventional medical setup, it's not taught. And I was like, what is hypnosis? And then when I started going much more deeply in hypnosis, I realized it is a very, very scientific tool which is accessing our subconscious or unconscious mind. And these two words are used interchangeably. Some of the literature mentioned is that unconscious, some of the literature mentions is that subconscious mind. I didn't even know that we are obviously taught about our mind and brain processing, but the depths to which a subconscious mind can impact our healing, our recovery was something very new to me. And from then on, I realized that the patients who I was seeing getting positively impacted and healing much faster were using their subconscious mind inadvertently without their knowledge and reprogramming it and believing certain things about themselves that was hastening their healing journey. And that's what led me to train in modality. So I'm a mindfulness teacher. When I decided to, having done my research and having done my specialization, I realized that I need more to offer to my patients. And that's when I kind of dabbled in mind body medicine, becoming a mindfulness teacher. Mindfulness is a form of a meditation. I also then, inspired by Dr. Brian Weiss, and in fact taught by his students, went to learn hypnotherapy. That is more like I trained to be in one line of hypnosis. And when I moved to UK, London, I trained in medical hypnotherapy. And with that, having gone through so many of my intense trainings, I decided to offer this in one of the NHS hospitals in London. This was something which was not very commonly done. It's not that I'm applying for a post of a consultant in a conventional way. Here I was going around telling people that we can really help our patients through these mind-body medicine techniques. And after many rounds of interview, debates, and trying to convince the heads, I managed to get a position to help cancer patients, specifically head and neck cancer patients in a hospital here. This is what I'm sharing with you is everything in this talk today will be very, very scientific, very research-based. So that's one fear that you can rest for now, that is this anything woo-woo? And when I say woo-woo, it means airy-fairy. A lot of people think that when we talk about self-help, when we talk about creating miracles, when we talk about creating magic in our lives, it is very, very airy-fairy. It has no sense. It is people trying to sell gimmickry things. But I'm here to tell you, this is all based in science. And this has all got now thoroughly researched. In fact, my own research pilot, which was understanding how clinical hypnotherapy can help to improve the quality of life for head and neck cancer patients. And this is my pilot that got, the abstract got published in a European journal. And I also presented this in an international conference in London, which was highly, highly well received by all the senior doctors and surgeons. It was a conference of surgery, international conference. So this is a paper that literally I would like to share more details with. And another one of the cases, and I can, as I go today through, I will share many of my cases and my clients, because it's not just that I work with patients with chronic health challenges. I also work with clients who are struggling in their lives. I've had corporate clients. I'm working with young adults who are trying to shape their careers, with athletes. So very recently, also somebody from the from our so-called Bollywood industry. So it's something that, you have to understand that this science is used, if understood, by people from any walk of life, right? So this is something I want you to understand. Now, this is a patient who was severely needle phobic. Now, needle phobia is when you are so scared of seeing a needle that forget about, it's that you cannot be sweet talked into getting a needle injection. You faint, you collapse, you get a panic attack. That's what a phobia is. That's why we call it a phobia, not a fear. I've worked with a lot of patients with phobias, whether it's claustrophobia, fear of heights, fear of water. And this particular patient who was going through cancer treatment was in a special program where if she had not received bone marrow biopsy from a needle, which is usually the case, she would have had to be dropped from the trial. And that means she would have really, really hampered her odds of healing, because this was a new trial that was being offered to her. She was so severely phobic of needles that she said, no, I'm not going to do this. Her levels of fear, anxiety, and panic was so high. If you can see the blue, red, and green bars, the pain was so high, the fear was so high, the panic was, anxiety was so high. And she was asking for general anesthesia. Now, for any hospital to arrange general anesthesia is very, very cost. It involves a high degree of cost and a lot of other things. It's not very comfortable to offer anesthesia for patient, it has its own side effects. That was not an option, and that's why this case was referred to me by the specialist consultant of cancer for this patient. Within a record amount of time, just within few sessions, you can see how much these parameters have come down for her. And almost less than half here, the last session, to the point that this patient agreed to go for bone marrow biopsy using a needle. Now, these kind of cases are each patient, it's a life we are talking about. It's the life of one individual we are talking about, and this had huge repercussions on the confidence of other patients, on the confidence of actually the staff in the hospital, that these modalities can really help a patient to heal, to receive treatment. And that's what was happening. I was trying to reprogram her subconscious mind. And this is what I want to tell you today from these two examples of my own research that has got published and has been presented in international conferences, is that once we understand what our subconscious mind is, once we understand how our old beliefs are creating our personalities, how our emotions, our traumas, our beliefs are shaping what the path that we are walking today, and that's what's creating our challenges, not our so-called believed life situations or circumstances, right? That's when we can go inward and change our subconscious mind. So what really is the unconscious or the subconscious mind? Let's start with basics, because it's really important to take because a lot of people here also might have heard of things which called stage hypnosis, stage reprogramming. It's all very gimmickry. I don't want any of us who are on this call to go away without understanding their own selves. So you're trying here to understand your own mind and body mechanisms here. Subconscious mind, just as this picture is such a beautiful picture of an ocean where there is an iceberg. This part of the iceberg, which is visible to the naked eye, is only 5 to 10%. And this is what represents our conscious mind. The rest of the iceberg, which is almost up to 95%, is submerged, just like our subconscious mind. This is what is the operating system of our personalities. This subconscious mind, the submerged iceberg, is something that is not evident to us, but it is the storehouse of all that has happened to us from the time of our inception till whatever our age is today. It is it's like the hard drive storing our memories, things that you don't even remember are stored. They're called archives. They're archived memory in our subconscious, in our unconscious mind. Our conscious mind is only 5 to 10%. And Ashish shared some very interesting statistics with us. He shared that the conscious mind is using only 4 bits of processor information. It's that slow. The subconscious mind is almost using up to 40 million bits of processing speed. And this information is actually something that is brought to us by another very, very famous researcher called Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's written a book called Biology of Belief. A lot of his research is in that book. If you're interested, you can pick up that book. A lot of that I'm discussing with you today also has roots in his research, right? Now, this subconscious mind, which is hidden, not obvious, it is not the conscious mind, is calling the shots for us. A simple example that I can share with you, and this actually is something I experienced in my one of my clients who was an addict. He was a chain smoker. He was in his mid to late 40s. And when he approached me, he said, Dr. Nupur, I know cigarette smoking is not good for me. I do have a family history of cardiac problems. I am a young father, and I know this is causing me tremendous strain in my personal relationships as well. My wife is very unhappy with me. I feel very helpless. For many years, this has been a pattern. And he said, I can't quit. smoking. Now, if you think about the situation, the conscious mind, which is the 5% to 10%, knows that smoking is injurious to health. It's causing so many of our cardiovascular incidents. But the person is still not able to do that. So the willpower, the whole concept of willpower, though is very good and critical, the research is telling us barely 2 to 3% of maybe 5% of people can quit habits based on willpower. Rest of the population is not able to do that. And this client of mine was one of them, a chain smoker for the last 20, 25 years. But today he wanted help because he realized there is help available, and through subconscious reprogramming, he can quit. And he did. It took all of 4 sessions for him to go cold turkey. He completely quit smoking. And that was amazing, to himself, because one of the common things which he thought was that I'm going to try this thing. It may work, it may not work. So this is the power of our subconscious mind, that it is, we change the patterns, we change the beliefs, and we change and reprogrammed. It's almost like creating a software by going deep into the hardware and installing it. But before we do that, we have to do some other housekeeping, which I'm going to be talking to you about. Also, it's really important to understand that subconscious mind is also responsible for keeping us alive in many ways. Just to very briefly touch upon autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is that part of a nervous system that is taking care of the involuntary processes of our body. Our heart is beating on its own. Our lungs are breathing on their own. Our breath is moving. Our kidneys are filtering. Our liver is metabolizing. Everything that is, most of the functions that are involuntary in the body are happening on their own. We are not impacting that. I can, yes, go and stretch my hand and pick up this pen. That's a voluntary action. I can't go inside and make my heart beat. That's something that's happening by my body's intelligence or the autonomic nervous system. Now, the subconscious mind is the keeper, and it has the power of influencing our autonomic nervous system. That is how we are able to heal. That is how I was able to impact the healing of so many cancer patients that I had the privilege of working with, and enhance their quality of life, reduce their pain thresholds, get them off chronic pain medication, which is in itself addictive, right? We have something called the opioid crisis in the world because people are getting addicted to their pain medication. So this is the route to changing not just our bodies, our physiologies, but also creating our personalities. When we talk about the term personality, it is our personal reality. If you want to create something today, you do so by changing your thoughts and your emotions, your beliefs and your perceptions, all of that which are stored in our subconscious mind. And the moment your personal reality changes, your personality gets created. And that's the personality from which we create, right? I'm going to be giving some more examples, but I'm just going to talk you a little through understanding your own mind and your own brain waves. Just as we all know, there's something called ECG, that electrocardiogram that records our heartbeats. We have something called EEG now, electroencephalography or encephalogram. We now know that we have brain waves in our brain because of this lot of high-tech research that has come up in the last few decades. And our brain has been recorded to be operating at different wavelengths or frequencies at different times. When you're engaging, you're doing acts, you're being consciously using your conscious mind faculties. You're talking like how you're listening to me, I'm talking to you. We are using our beta brain waves. The moment we start to slow down, the moment we start to relax, we are using our other brain waves. The brain goes into alpha. It is like if you're doing yoga and you're doing the corpse pose at the end, the shavasana, slowly you're entering the alpha wave. When you are just after a nice long walk or a long run, just sitting on the couch and just relaxing, that's when the alpha brainwave starts to happen. Similarly, we have some things which are brainwaves just before bedtime, right? Those are just in your semi-asleep, semi-awake state, or when you're waking up in the morning. All of these are different brain waves. Brain waves of meditation are very different. Now we understand that there are certain brain waves which are very conducive to accessing our subconscious mind. And they start from alpha, theta, delta, right? And the deeper you can relax. So what's most important, one of the key ways of, of installing new programs in your subconscious mind is by practicing relaxation response. Our bodies heal, our minds absorb, our energies become like a sponge that absorbs water when the right brain frequency is there. And one of the key ways of entering that, as I said, is through rest, relaxation, response. Because otherwise, when we are in our beta brain waves, when our conscious mind is involved, we are forever in the fight, flight, freeze, constantly thinking. That's called the sympathetic response. We are always thinking, worrying, planning, wondering, or we could be even arguing, fighting. So this is the waking state consciousness. But nothing new changes, nothing new powerful gets created in this state of mind. Yes, you can create from your conscious mind, you can create agendas, you can create intentions, but for them to come into fruition, to actually be achieved, is by the subconscious mind. And that is when the body enters into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and relaxation response. The more you relax, the more you are calmer, the more your subconscious mind starts to be open to change and create a new reprogrammed version of whatever that you're trying to create. This is something that I really want you to understand, that there is a reason why certain things are done to reprogram the subconscious mind, because the brain waves have to be, and we can change these brain waves by practicing. Yeah. One of the key things why our subconscious needs to be reprogrammed is because unknowingly we are harboring limiting beliefs. And these limiting beliefs are creating our reality, our present day situation. Whether it's a limiting belief that I cannot get over, I cannot heal, this is my death sentence, my diagnosis is my death sentence, or a limiting belief that I am not good enough. And trust me, these limiting beliefs are our own self-saboteurs. What do we mean by self-saboteurs? We are our worst enemies. It's not the situations, it's not the life situations, it's not the people, it's not the lack of opportunities. It is our own internal programming that is limiting our lives from reaching its highest potential, right? Now, these limiting beliefs get lodged as early as our first 7 years of our lives. They say that there's now a lot of evidence in neuroscience that is telling us that the first 7 years of a child's life are like uninhibited download of programs. The child is growing up in a family, in a society. This child has by themselves they cannot differentiate the good from the bad. They do not know what's right for them. Their subconscious is so open, so there are no filters. It downloads the information, it downloads the fears, it downloads the limiting beliefs of the people that they are growing with, that their parents, their nurturers, their teachers. And that becomes the reality for this person as they grow up. And it doesn't stop at 7 years. It continues. Our subconscious mind is always in function, but it is very, very high in those first 7 years. In fact, now we have evidence that it goes into intrauterine life as well and beyond. That's when things like past life, it can sound very contradictory for those of us who think it's one of those new age beliefs that past lives are there and all. But now we have enough evidence to talk about this, to believe this, right? I'm not going to get into that past life, though even research, if any of you are interested, you can always reach out to us and we can talk about this later on. But the point is that our subconscious is registering issues. It's almost like when a child gets told in the class that, you know what, you are not good enough. How come you did not do your homework today? They're made to feel so ashamed in front of the whole class. Yes, I'm not saying it's not the child's fault, but the child is so humiliated, is so ashamed that they're almost banished from the class. Now, for a little child, that becomes a trauma memory. And whatever the teacher is saying, the child is believing. You're not good enough. You are a failure. You'll not amount to anything in life because you don't have discipline. You don't listen to me. Now, these are being downloaded for the child. And this child does not realize that it will become his reality or her reality unless this is erased from their subconscious mind. Slowly, the child will underperform. They will be so scared. They will stop interacting. They will start failing some tests. And then the outcome will further validate the belief, I am not good enough. And this is just a small example. I have worked with people who are CFOs, chief finance officers. I have worked with very, very senior executives in companies. And I would like to share the example of one of the person. She was a very, very, as I said, she's a CFO of a finance company, way in her 50s, into her 50s. And she's telling me, Nupur, I am here at this stage in my life, but I feel like an imposter. Imposter means fraud. I don't think I deserve this position. I don't think I deserve to be here. And here's a person who has got the most ticked Ivy League degrees. She has worked her way up to the top. But she said, I have always had this undercurrent feeling I am not deserving. I am not good enough. And she was suffering for what we call a classical imposter syndrome. And she said, this has always delayed my promotions. This promotion as a CFO, which I have received last year, should have come to me 5 years back, given my journey, how early I started, given my credentials, given my growth spurts. She said, I am becoming my own sabotage, biggest saboteur for me, because this belief is not leaving me. And once we started reprogramming her subconscious mind, we realized that it was coming from very, very strong beliefs held by her subconscious, that no matter what she does, she doesn't deserve to be the best. Now, these limiting beliefs are lodged in our subconscious and they are creating our reality. They're creating our emotions. The emotions that we feel, fear, sadness, self-doubt, guilt, resentment, all of these emotions are getting trapped with our thoughts. And no matter where we are, no matter what we do, they're going to hold us back. They're almost like if you've seen a horse wears something called the blinkers, right? Now, this horse is made to wear blinkers because the horse gets distracted and he doesn't listen to the rider. But we are living our lives with blinkers because we feel that this is the only limit in which I can play my life. Beyond this doesn't exist for me. So we wear invisible blinkers, but those are actually our subconscious patterns that are keeping us limited. Now, this lady, once we started reprogramming her subconscious mind, got her next promotion in record time of 1.5 years. This had never happened to her. She had to slog her way, beat herself up, feel that she's not worthy. And then it was like she was fighting an uphill battle all the time. A part of her was pulling her down and a part of her was pushing her up. But because this weight was so heavy, she could never go up. It took all of few sessions and her working on herself, having understood how to do it, next promotion 1.5 years. So this is the power of our limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs that are patterned in our subconscious mind, because they are what are creating our currently reality, right? So if you look at this image, this is an image that I was so grateful when I was doing my research that I found this image, because this is talking about that dissonance that exists between us wanting our life a certain way, wanting to achieve, but not being able to get there. A part of us stopping us. And for a lot of us, we don't even know that it's our own part stopping us, because our personalities, which is a reflection of our personal reality, is running from a software program, which is telling us, riddled with limiting beliefs, I am not worthy. I can only do this much. This is the maximum I can go for. I can't punch above this. I'm not that smart. I don't have the right degrees. I don't have the right credentials. I am not. In fact, one of the very recent clients I was working is a performer, and she has all that it takes. She has got the best talent. She's a singer. She can sing beautifully. She has got trained. But she cannot. She has a crippling fear of public speaking. And when I say public speaking, it's public performance. She goes on top of a stage and she freezes. Now, how do you think this person can showcase their talent to the world if they have such a debilitating fear of being out on the stage in front of people? There is a dissonance in the personality, right? So this is a picture. And now you have to understand that not only her work performance is getting impacted, so are her finances. She's invested so much time and money in her trainings. For the first 30 years of her life, an artist or a professional is 70% of the time giving time to training and learning. Very few of us are fortunate to start earning early on in our lives. But when the time comes for returns, we are not getting our returns proportionate to the investment in it. That is because our dissonance that is existing. It is impacting our relationships. It is impacting our health, as I shared with you. Of course, finances. And you feel you're living a suboptimal life. You feel you're a victim. I am a victim. Nothing goes right for me. And again, what are we doing? We are reinforcing the already existing subconscious beliefs in our personality. Feeling the emotions, feeling the thoughts, they are a reflection of our past personalities. Until we change this, we will keep creating a future self based on our past. The point of intervention lies in this moment, where we can start to understand how we reprogram our subconscious mind. Now, this is again a very interesting concept that our subconscious mind is a clever detective because it is storing all the archives, it has all the information. A lot of times when I'm speaking to a client in subconscious reprogramming, I tell them, go to a time when you were very safe and secure. And that is a foundation because that's where our fight and flight response comes to rest. The body realizes I'm not in threat, I'm not in survival, I can go into something called the relaxation response. When I ask them to go into a safe space, they go sometimes to a time they didn't even remember. They said, oh my God, I went to that playground where I used to share my tiffin with my friend after a game of football. Now, where is this memory lodged? Consciously, this person he's a 58-year-old gentleman who has not even thought of this. And he's going back to a time when he was 7 years old. These are archives in our own subconscious mind, which are very much present and which are now we can access them. Like you go into an old library with a lot of manuscripts, you can go and take out an archive. That's exactly what we are doing here. So why do we reprogram our subconscious mind? Because we need to release and we need to now install new beliefs. I can do this. I can go that extra mile. I can go and cover that distance. Athletes are being, what is creating the difference between an average player from an Olympic athlete? And I'm not saying all of us need to go into Olympics to prove ourselves. Whatever sport we are playing, I work with a lot of young athletes as well. A lot of youngsters who are trying to create their life in football, in other games. They very recently I had somebody who was a squash player. And this person said that, I am not able to go beyond a certain level in a certain league in my game. This is because something in me is saying that I am not I don't have that in me that can take me to the next level in my league in squash. Now, these were nothing but beliefs. These were nothing with his body getting used to a certain level of performance. Now, when you change that subconscious programming, when you change the relationship the mind and body have, because remember, it's a mind-body connection. When you can visualize things happening, that's when his game changed. That's when his technique changed, and that's when his body adapted to this new technique, that new software. And that's when he moved the next league up, which he wasn't able to in the last 2 years. So this is exactly what our top players know, whether it's top performers, top athletes, they know this science, and that's what they are practicing. We have to understand that with subconscious mind reprogramming, we are creating with intention rather than with inertia or resistance. A lot of times we are living, we say, this is who I am. This is my personality. We never challenge our personalities. We never challenge who we are. We continue living like that, even sometimes to the detriment of our own selves, because we feel this is my personality. So, what is creating that personality? We have never questioned. Some set of circumstances, some set of beliefs, some set of emotions, some failures, some setbacks that got so deeply entrenched, some traumas that became our reality, and that's what is our personality. And that is not creating with intention, my friends. The day you decide, no, I'm ready to upgrade my own version. You all do upgrades on your phones, on your mobiles, on your laptops, on your desktops, but we have never thought of the fact that we can even upgrade our own selves. And this is the reason why we reprogram our subconscious mind. And believe me, it's something you can do. You can obviously go to somebody who's a specialist in this, but my intention with you today is to share ways and means to understand how can you do this on your own, right? Because, who doesn't want to live a life of abundance? And when I'm talking about an abundance, please don't misconstrue it with wealth. Wealth, my friends, money is a very small part of abundance. It is an important part, but not the whole story. Abundance is of living life to the fullest, of living with unconditional love, unconditional joy, and self-respect, self-worth, of being an inspiration. And you don't have to be an inspiring leader. You can just be an inspiration to yourself and to people who come in touch with you. This is the reason why you do, because otherwise, as this quote says, that your subconscious mind is like the autopilot feature on the plane. Unless you change this, you will be on autopilot. You'll be just working the same way you were working 10 years back. And there's nothing wrong with it if you're happy in that space. But if you want to upgrade, if you want to experience beyond what you thought you could, that's why we need to impact. And that's why we are trying to impact. Also, you must have heard of this law of attraction and manifestation. You will be amazed that manifestation and miracles will become accessible to you. And this is because I have seen it. If I could see a patient who went off water, she became hydrophobic. Hydrophobic is she became phobic of a glass of water after her chemotherapy. She hadn't had water in 6 months. She could have fruit juices, she could have other liquids which were flavored, but she got repulsion from the plain H2O or drinking water. Now, if this lady could reprogram her subconscious mind and with me have the first sip of water after just 3 sessions, for her, it was a moment that was life-altering. She said, I can now start drinking water again without throwing up. So this is that for her, it was magic. It was impossible. She had told her consultants, no, I can never drink water again. I'll puke. This is magic. This is manifestation. So this is the impact of how we can influence ourselves. Now, this is a slide where I'm going to talk about this beautiful picture. And these are 7 tools. Now, I'm not saying that there are only 7 tools existing in the world. There are some people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, some of my own teachers like Anita Moorjani, Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza. These are names I'm quoting because these are people whose books are out there. They have a lot of content on YouTube. But understand that they are offering so much more. It can be a maze out there. In my experience, and since we are here, I have condensed it to the tools that I know for a fact that work fantastically well. And these are as per my research and as per my success with my clients and with my patients. These are the 7 tools, and I want you to take a picture of this just so that you have this with you handy. Hypnosis, mindfulness, visualization, autosuggestion, emotionalizing, intentional repetition, and energy psychology. Energy psychology is a very, very vast field of science. I will be specifically talking about something called neuro-linguistic programming here. Now, let's see this image. This is a split of an image of a person showing their left brain and the right brain. Typically, the left brain is considered to be logic-oriented and the right brain is considered to be artistic. Of course, this is something which is very loosely stated. How are we creating things in our life? Now, I wanted to understand a little bit here of something what we call neuroscience, right? Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is telling us that our neural pathways, that our neurons are connecting with each other. They're creating our neural pathways, and that is what is creating. Suppose you learn how to ride a bike today. Earlier, you could not ride a bike. It has taken you maybe 3 months or 2 months to learn it. How do you learn it? It is because you create new neural pathways, right? And once you have enough neural pathways, that practice becomes a habit for you. You don't even have to think. You ride a bike, you're not thinking how to pedal, how to balance. It just happens automatically. It happens automatically because your neural pathways have got formed and that has informed the rest of your body, right? That is neuroplasticity. Now, through subconscious reprogramming, our neuroplasticity, the ability of our brain to form new neural pathways is heightened multiple times, right? And we can create a version of ourselves, which is the blueprint. Like an architect creates a blueprint of what they want to create in 3D. Here we can create the blueprint of what and who we want to become, of what we want to achieve by creating those neural pathways that can very quickly be done through visualization. And visualization sometimes is a very restrictive word because visualization means only our ability to see, vision. We are multisensory beings. We use all parts of our multisensory experience. Emotions, taste, touch, hearing, seeing, feeling, sensing. All our multiple, and there's another sense called intuition, right? And other senses like proprioception, feeling. We say that the taste of success, the sound of success, all of these we use in our vocabulary, but we have never used them to reprogram. So how do we get into these spaces? Emotions. Emotion is the most important thing. If you visualize something that you want to create in your life, why is this again important, my friends? Again, going back to neuroscience, very, very fundamental and important thing. Our brain does not know the difference between real and imagined. Our brain does not know the difference, I repeat, between real and imagined. If I show you red color and we do an MRI, fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, the visual areas of the brain light up. And if I now ask you, imagine color red, I don't show it to you, I ask you to imagine, the same areas of the brain light up. Now that's huge. That means we can create states and situations for us which are positive. Our brain and our body doesn't know whether it's real or imagined. If we have time towards the end, I'm going to guide you into a very fascinating exercise, which actually will prove to you right now about what I'm talking about. But remember this, our brain does not know. That means there is no limit to really what you can achieve in your life. And one of the key things is emotions. Our bodies register emotions. If I right now ask you to think of a time when you lost a loved one, you will immediately contract. You will have tears flowing down. You will feel a tightness in your chest. That is because our emotions are so strong, they have the ability to produce physical reaction in the body. By the same logic, our emotions are so strong that they can reprogram our subconscious mind. We can feel an elevated emotion of joy, love, abundance, success, achievement, emotions of them, and create our signature, right? I can talk to you about all of this: intentional repetition, positive mental rehearsals, auto-suggestions is what you are saying to yourself. I am not good enough. I don't think I can ever do this. Life is very hard. This year is going to be even harder than last year. You know why? Because blah, blah, blah. We have so many stories to tell us. These are auto-suggestions. Our subconscious mind literally is like a child. It doesn't know the real from imagined. It'll just believe whatever. So the conscious mind is drip feeding the subconscious mind. If these are the sentences that you're going to say, the subconscious mind will believe them, and it'll create more programs for you to make you feel that way. It'll create life situations for you where you will attract those situations where it'll say, you wanted to feel not good enough, so here, go feel not good enough. You wanted to feel less than this person, so okay, fine. You are going to feel less than this person. This is going to be a challenge. That is going to be a challenge. You'll keep attracting. Why do we attract? Because of energy psychology. We have to understand that we are more energy than matter. And quantum physics is telling us that. So we are vibrations. We are frequencies. Our emotions are that. If I ask you to put on 102.8 FM right now, you will listen to 102. You will not go and 91.4 will not play if you're putting 102.8, right? Though 91.8 exists in the environment, but you will only listen to what you have tuned into. Similarly, if you're tuning into a vibration of an emotion that is guilt, resentment, despair, that is exactly what you're going to keep attracting in your energy field. That will become your reality. Your subconscious will believe this is what you want. Subconscious has no mind of its own. It can't say, no, this is good for her, this is bad for him. No. So understand that these are the ways in which we can start to change our reality. We are doing a workshop this month, which will be a 3-module workshop or a 3-part workshop, which I want you to understand that we are going to go into the depths of this, of all that we have discussed today. And I hope you can really get a lot of encouragement from all that we have discussed. You can start by exploring all of this on your own. But if you feel that you would really learn with a mentor in a group, because in group, the energy and the dynamics are very, very conducive to learn quickly, then please join us for this workshop that's happening in this month with a 1 follow-up session, which will be done maybe typically 2 weeks after, so that you have learned everything, practiced it, and the follow-up session will be for your doubts and a lot other stuff as well. We also will have some, if you can mute yourselves, that'll be lovely. Thank you. And there'll be also some prep work before the workshop that will commence. We're going to be telling you all the details of the workshop in a bit. I just want you to understand what we are offering in the workshop and who should attend this. Again, if you want to live a life of your highest potential, and then some more. And when I say and then some more, because we ourselves don't know what our potential is, right? We ourselves don't know what we are capable of. So this is, again, stepping into the unknown, but with some positive, reinforced, practiced programs in our subconscious. Stepping into the unknown with joy and expectations rather than fear and doubt. We also will learn in this workshop how to work with our fear and doubt, and also how to learn how to extract the limiting beliefs and unweed them and remove them forever from our subconscious. The aims and objectives of the workshop are exactly what I talked to you about. In 3 days, I'm really going to be stretching myself very thin. So if you're ready to really take on a lot of this information, then please join us, because there is a lot to learn. It will be a very, very content-heavy, practical, scientifically proved, and practice-oriented sessions where we are going to be touching upon each of these aspects. Module 1 will be identifying limiting beliefs, mastering the power of subconscious mind, and understanding what is hypnosis. Hypnosis, my friends, is something that you need to go to somebody who's skilled, who's trained, who has a medical background or a psychology background or medically related background. Please don't go to somebody ever who has just done a 3-month course or a 6-month course, right? Here, you will learn how to do it on yourself. You learn self-hypnosis. This was a part of my teachings to all my patients, that they were all taught how to do self-hypnosis. And the power of self-hypnosis is such that when I was teaching it to one of my patients, well, a lot of them benefited from doing this, but one of them specifically came back and told me that while this person was in remission, that you taught me this for my chemotherapy while I was going through chemo. But you know what, now that I'm in remission, and this is such an amazing tool, every time I'm at my dentist, I'm sitting on the dental chair, fearing the fear, or I'm getting my dialysis done, I'm doing my self-hypnosis and I'm using my auto-suggestions. It is a very transferable skill. Once you learn how to do this, you can really use it in multiple aspects of your life. Even for public speaking. So this person that I talked to you about with stage performance, fear of stage, stage fright, she couldn't sing in front of the audiences. She obviously learned how to do this. She started doing it on her own. And now, like literally, since pandemic, this year, last year, there was she really worked on herself through those 2 years, where anyways worked to her advantage because there were no performances happening, there were no group gatherings. But because she used that time, last year she was fully booked, because now she is so confident as a speaker that she doesn't mind the stage fright. There is no concept of stage fright here, right? Because she's practicing this constantly on her own. So module 1, you will identify your personal limiting beliefs, something that perhaps you have lived all your life with, and then you go into the depths of self-hypnosis. Module 2 is understanding the power of words, auto-suggestion, understanding the process of creative visualization or imagination, because it is a superpower. I do work with young children. Now, this is something that we teach our children to be good children, to study hard, to read well, to be good in current affairs, but we are not telling them that they have a superpower dormant inside them, which is the power of visualization. If you go back and listen to Djokovic, who is the tennis star, in his victory speeches, he always said that when I was a child, I used to visualize holding the trophy and kissing it. Novak Djokovic used to always say that I used to create my own Wimbledon trophy, my own trophy from from other games by using cardboard pieces. And I used to create my own trophy. I used to kiss it, and I used to give victory speeches. This is as a young boy. And today, he's an unbeaten champion. So this is the power of what he was doing, and so many of our athletes do, but something that we need to teach ourselves at whatever age, and also the young generation, right? And the benefits is, again, it is a superpower. We all have that, but we don't use it. Module 3 is about understanding mindfulness. You remember subconscious and conscious mind, that picture of an iceberg? The conscious mind, which is 5 to 10%, is still very important because it is drip feeding the subconscious. You have to understand how to become aware, mindfully aware of your self-talk. If your self-talk is very harsh, if your self-talk is very negative, if your self-talk is only talking about my pain, my diagnosis, my problems, then that is what you're drip feeding the subconscious. So how do we reprogram this mind, mindfully, our conscious mind, so that they are allies, they are working for our good, and there is no dissonance between them? How do we emotionalize? How do we understand? I talk about something which is called the emotional guidance scale. Now, if any of you have heard of Dr. David R. Hawkins, he is done a lot of research, and in his book, Power versus Force, talks about emotional scales. A lot of times we don't even know what is our inherent emotional scale. That means what is our typical dominant emotion. Some of us are always in a fear mode. Some of us are always in a lack mode, always in a guilty mode. Those are our emotional bandwidths for each of us. Once we understand that, we realize we can change our emotional frequency to the one that helps in achieving, which is positive emotions, acceptance, allowing, joy, love. And these are emotions that we need to teach ourselves. We need to teach them to our subconscious mind. So emotionalizing. And in module 3, we talk about neuro-linguistic programming techniques. A lot of techniques there, but we will use maybe a few that are most powerful and pertinent for us, like anchoring, like the TV screen, like the movie screen techniques. Again, the benefits are we are rebooting our subconscious mind, right? We are creating, it's one thing to know the limiting beliefs and to remove them. And there is another thing called implanting a powerful belief. The fact that this person could be giving performances on stage, she had to create a new belief that, no, I'm worthy. The CFO in that company, she had to create that belief, no, I am exactly where I deserve to be. And I deserve to go even higher. I am unlimited. So we have to create new beliefs. That's what rebooting is all about. And then we understand what is quantum field. The blueprint of that image that I was showing you earlier is understanding the quantum mechanics, the quantum field. The quantum physics is telling us time and space is not truth. It is a concept made by man. So understanding what is quantum field, understanding the laws of quantum physics, and how they can help us to live a life of limitlessness. Yeah, that is what we are going to do in module 3, and we are going to continue with this concept in our follow-up session as well, which will be typically done two-ish weeks after the main workshop. And my last slide before I hand it over to Ashish is on what I need from my group. I'm taking a very small group. It's going to be maybe 10 people. We have already got 5, I think, because people have already registered for this workshop, and we have very limited spaces. And I'm not just saying this; these are actually participants who have registered. You can just go and check on Mindful Living platform. Here, if you are ready now to take this on with full commitment, then you are very welcome. And you want to create a life of deliberate intention. No more walking through your life like a zombie. Not letting just life happen to you, but understanding that yes, there is so much that I can create with intention. And of course, being ready for big shifts. Why not? Why not? Why should you live small? Why should any of us live small? I am here today because I have done this work on myself. I am here today. I've been doing workshops after workshops through the last so many years, sharing this knowledge only because first I believed and I have worked on myself. Otherwise, I could have been very content living in one corner of one hospital room, just doing it for a few patients, and that's it, right? So we have to understand that what do we want for ourselves? If we want to grow, if we want to evolve, if we want to live a life of our maximum potential, which none of us, trust me, know what it is, then this is faith. On that note, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to request Ashish to take on, but while we are here, I would love to hear from you. I would love to answer any of your questions. If you have any questions, any doubts, maybe we'll take a couple here and then rest later.
Yes, so there are two, Dr. Nupur, which I would like to draw your attention to while I'm putting up my slides. One is from Bhavna, and she says, my son has focal epilepsy. It is very difficult to convince him for many things as his decision power is affected because of his heavy drugs, as he's a slow learner. He's always talking negatively more. Bhavna, would you like to discuss this now or later? And then there's another one from Kalpana. Can a teenager, 13-year-old, attend this session, or would it be too heavy duty for the kid? Naveen and Nidhi, I'll request you to hold on your questions till we come back. I would like Dr. Nupur, if you could have quick comments on Bhavna's and Kalpana's queries.
Yeah, so I'll address the second question first. A 13-year-old one, a 13-year-old child is really a very, very powerful child right now. They're just in the right frame of mind. But I would say that for this workshop, they ideally should be accompanied by a parent. And, ideally this workshop is for people who, 18 years and above. But if your child is interested, I would say that you should also gain this information so that you can be guiding them. So a child can definitely attend, but with a parent, where the parent can guide them and understand themselves as well. And my sessions will finish by February, mid-February, but you are going to be there with your child, so you should also know what's going on. So please attend with your child if you can. And the first question is something I would request the person to ask themselves, because it sounds very, I'll be not being honest with them if I don't know the exact situation. And so maybe we'll hold on to that towards the end and request her to come on board and ask the question herself, and then I can speak to her. That might be better.
Yeah, Naveen, you may go ahead with your question. Dr. Nupur, give me a couple of seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dr.
sure.
Nupur, I wanted to ask you, how do you connect this to the triune brain theory, which is the rational brain, the reptilian brain, and the emotional brain? Are these the same thing?
Yes. So you have to understand that our primitive brain or our reptilian brain is again something which we call is something that is very responsible for our primitive responses, right? I will not get too technical for the sake of the rest of the crowd, and we can discuss this more in the workshop. But you have to understand our main brain system, our brain has evolved to keep us alive. Survivorship has been the key aspect for all of us. See, we have come from our ancestors who were hunter gatherers, right? And we were living in very acrimonious situations where there were predators, there were tigers, there were snakes, there were polar bears. You know, we were cave dwellers. So the most important aspect of our lizard brain or our limbic system was to keep us aware of threats. You know, they had to be so hyper vigilant because survival was at stake, right? So the biggest emotions used to be fear, survival, and threat. And this is exactly what I talked about in fight, flight, fright response of the sympathetic nervous system. But now we are no longer living in caves. Now we are no longer living in front of a snake or a tiger ready to attack us. Most of us, but some of us are still living that life, you know, adventurers, or those of us who are, you know, those kinds who love to be in adventures. But most of us are living in safe houses, secure societies. But still our emotional regulation system is of survival. And our subconscious mind, if it says that something is a threat to you, if it is a boss who is all the time drilling down deadlines over you, is as much a threat for the subconscious mind as is the tiger ready to kill you. Because the subconscious mind does not understand the difference between the threat level, right? So all of this, my friends, are very related. All our emotional brain, our reptilian brain, they are all informing our subconscious through fear-based, threat-based, or if we use higher emotion intelligence center, that's where the conscious regulation of mindfulness comes into play. And that's when we can inform our subconscious, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Ashish.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
will take the question by Nidhi towards the end.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, friends, for your active participation. And now we are at that stage in the presentation where we will share the details of the workshop with you. There have been queries in the chat on, share with us about the workshop. So that is what we're going to do. If you are curious about knowing the workshop details, please type C in the chat box. If you're curious to know more about the workshop to unleash the power of your subconscious mind. Thank you, friends. So here are the details for you. If you would like to have more money, promotions, better health, happiness, and relationships, you need to change the level of thinking. As Einstein says, very beautifully, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if we keep doing the same things in 2022 and expect different results in 2023, Einstein says that's insanity. So we need to change our level of thinking. The best way to do that is to invest in our own learning. And this is no person other than Warren Buffett who says, who's a self-made billionaire and one of the top 10 richest people, that the best investment you can make is investment in yourself. Because when you invest in yourself, you learn so much more, you earn so much more, and you can go from where you are to where you want to be. It is only knowledge which stops us from getting where we want to go. So once we have the knowledge, then we can follow the steps and follow the roadmap and get what we want. When it comes to investment, there are two investments that are required. One is investment of time, and the another one is investment of money. And friends, being corporate professional myself, I am very, very conscious that both the return on investment on the money and time invested has to be very, very high. Coming to the time investment, there are 3 sessions like Dr. Nupur mentioned, which are on 18th, 20th, and 25th January, and 1 bonus session. So total 4 sessions, 6 hours of investment. And when it comes to money, it is 4,999, 3 sessions plus 1 bonus session. If you would like to drop in and check out this program by dropping in for the first session. It is 2,499. And in case you would like to avail of 1:1 coaching session with Dr. Nupur, then the entire package comes from 7,999. I would just like to share with you that a single coaching session with Dr. Nupur costs about £100, which is about 10,000 rupees. But here you're getting such a lovely deal in which you get 1:1 coaching session. And in price of less than 1:1 coaching session, you get the entire program in that. So that's a no-brainer deal. You sign up by paying via Google Pay or Paytm to this number that we have mentioned. And as Dr. Nupur mentioned, we taken very few people, so we have only 5 seats remaining. So please hurry up and remit your fees now. Once you remit the fees, please let us know so that we can welcome you to the program. All these sessions are Zoom live session like this one, which ensures that the completion rate of the program is over 90%. Whereas the completion rate of other online programs is less than 10%. Mindful living programs consistently, we pride ourselves in having a completion rate of more than 90%. Thank you, Narayan. Thank you for your interest. We have made a note of this. And one of the questions that we often get is, what if I miss a recording? If I'm traveling and if I'm not able to attend a session, what happens? So all our sessions, like this one, if you notice, are recorded. And recording is shared in the groups the next day. So even if you have attended and want to watch the session again, or if you have missed attending, you can watch the recording. Recordings are always shared in the group, so you don't lose anything even if you miss attending a session. Another question that we get asked often is, when will be the next workshop? This one is after a year. And we have whole of 2023 calendar ready, and this is not appearing again in 2023. So if you miss this now, the earliest you will be able to catch is in 2024. So my answer to you is, don't wait. Sometimes it's now or never. So please, if you have any doubts, please ask and sign up ASAP. Another question we'll get is, how do I know that? Yes, Sunil Kumar, we will do that. There is another question from Vidhu. Please let me know the online transaction details. Okay, Vidhu, we'll share that. So all the money, all the mindful living programs come with a money back guarantee. So if you feel that this is not the right program for you after you have signed up, no questions asked. This I'm saying on record. This recording will be shared with you. No questions asked, the money back guarantee, because we are 100% confident of the quality of content that we provide. So we are 100% confident in giving this money back guarantee. Some of you have asked for the details again. So here are the dates of the program: 18th, 20th, and 25th. If you like, you can take screenshot of this. The timing has been kept as 9 p.m., which is around the same time as today, because a lot of our participants are successful professionals and they like to finish their work before coming for the session. So 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. on these 3 days, 4.5 hours. Yes, Brigadier Vidar, we will share the recording with you in the group. And these are the details, the fees details. You can take a screenshot of this, Sunil, and the payment details are, just give me a minute. These are the payment details, Google Pay or Paytm. Please take a screenshot. So we have 6 seats that are gone now, only 4 remaining. So please hurry up and let us know your interest. Remit fees and let us know. Another advantage of doing a session with Mindful Living is that you become a part of the Mindful Living community. Most of the other training programs, once the training is over, you never see the trainer again, and the trainer never sees the participants again. But Dr. Nupur Agarwal is a part of the Mindful Living community. She is a pillar of the Mindful Living community. And by virtue of being a community member, you have 24/7 access to our trainers and vice versa. So it's not like the program is over and we go our own ways. It is our intent in making sure that you pick up the practices and implement them and apply them and elevate your life to the next level. So that's the beauty of being a part of the mindful living community. In the mail that we will share with you, you will have links to join the mindful living community. It's a complimentary invite. So you don't have to pay anything. And as I mentioned, no religious or political agenda. It's a very safe space. So that's the other advantage. As we mentioned earlier, we take only few students because this is a fairly intense topic, like Dr. Nupur was also mentioning. So we would like to pay personal attention. And that's the reason we keep our batch sizes to be very small. Only 10 participants, 6 have already confirmed. So only 4 more remaining. And this is a limited period offer. Our batch goes live on 18th, and there is pre-work that happens before, like Dr. Nupur was mentioning. So we freeze the batch by about 16th or 17th. So you have only a couple of days. Sharing these details with you once again. And in case you would like to do a bank transfer, these are the details of our bank account. You can take a screenshot and use this for making the bank transfer. These are some free resources that we will share with you. This is the first one is a video of Miracle Man. And this is about a pilot whose plane crashed and his spine was completely crushed, and how he used the power of subconscious reprogramming, and he walked out. The doctors did not give him 1 day to live, and he walked out of the hospital after 6 months. So that's the power. These will come as a part of the email that we will send to you tomorrow. And the other one is about the subconscious mind being a million times more powerful, and by Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton. And the third video is from Mel Robbins on the power of visualization. So these are the some of the resources that we will share with you. Dr. Nupur, while you have taken us through the program in quite some details, so I'll skip this in the interest of time because it's already 9:30. Now we will open up the session for Q&A. We had a question from Nidhi. So Nidhi, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Ashish. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Nupur. Sorry, I actually now have, I earlier had 2 questions, but now I have 3. My first question, Dr. Nupur, was, first question is, you spoke about repetition and, the auto suggestion bit of it. And I think affirmations kind of qualify for that category. My question here is, I think I have tried practicing affirmations, but then, the logical mind kind of kicks in and you kind of start contradicting what you're trying to kind of believe in, right? So how do you really tackle that? That's question number 1.
Okay, let's answer one by one. Thank you, Nidhi, for these questions. See, exactly that's why they say positive thinking doesn't work anymore. There was a huge movement in the early 1940s and 50s about positive thinking. Positive thinking was all about affirmations being repeated without understanding how the subconscious mind is responding. So once we understand that the affirmations or the auto-suggestions have to be delivered to the subconscious mind, that smoker that I talked about, he kept parroting, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to quit smoking. He had spent 20 years being a chain smoker. His lung capacity had come down drastically. So what is the difference between this is by delivering the auto-suggestion to the subconscious mind. And that's exactly what self-hypnosis will help you to do, to understand, to do that internally, deeply, not at just the surface level of 5%, right? Next question, Adi.
Yeah, second question is more workshop related. So given the fact that all of us have our own individual set of limiting beliefs or situations that we may be dealing with, right? So how does this actually work in a group setting? Because I just felt maybe this was better done one-on-one rather than in a group setting. So I just wanted to understand that better.
Yes, wonderful. You can always do a one-on-one session with any coach, any expert that you have access to, online, in person, whoever you wish to. It's amazing to do one-on-one sessions. I'm not discouraging anybody from one-on-one. My intention, even on one-on-one sessions, is always to make my patients and my clients self-reliant and self-dependent. So once you understand what is going on, what's happening, you become so self-reliant that you know that I can now deal with this on my own. And if you feel the issues are very deep-seated, you can always sign up for a coaching session along with this, right? Sometimes I have had people earlier in workshops. I did an inner child healing, inner child reprogramming our inner child healing workshop in November. There were people who had abuse and trauma as a part of their inner child, of their upbringing as their children. They still went through the workshop, but they then approached, they could really help themselves to a great extent. And some of them then wanted a one-on-one session. That's when they approached me for. So the biggest power is in self-regulation. If you can understand to manage yourself on your own, then that's brilliant. Everybody may have a different self-limiting belief, but the way to change it, challenge it, and substitute it is going to be the same, right? Now, the extent of which the limiting belief is happening, to that extent, you'll have to be perseverant with your practice, right? You can always take a specialist help, but there is so much that you can do independently also. And even though the reason I'm taking a small group, Nidhi, is only because I am going to give individual attention to everybody in the workshop also, right? Okay. I will know exactly what you're dealing with, what you're working through. And that's the reason the group size is so, we could have made this workshop for 20 people. Trust me, would have got it. But the reason why we are making it as 10 is only because we want individual attention to all the parts. Yeah.
Fair enough. So that comes to my third question, which was, is it all right if one signed up for the, the format, which is 3+1? And then at the end of it, if one felt, no, I need some more help, and then could ask for that one-on-one session and pay additionally for that?
The one-on-ones, so you can, if you need to go for the coaching session, you'll have to sign up with the workshop. So I just want to clarify one point. Everybody gets a bonus session, which is the follow-up session, who just signs up for 3 sessions also.
Correct.
The follow-up session is for everybody. It's to answer your questions and queries, which we will do typically 2 weeks after the workshop. Now, if you're going to sign up for the one-on-one along with that, that is this 7-something package, which Ashish can correct us on the price. That one has one-to-one specific coaching. You and me only will be there, right? And that you will have to buy now. If after the one-on-one session also you feel you want more help, by all means you can approach us, but the pricing point will be very different because that will be beyond the workshop structure.
Okay,
so the pricing
so my question, so I understood the format. My question was, can I sign up for the 4,999 now? And at the end of the 4,999, if I feel I still need a one-on-one, can I upgrade to 7,999 after that?
Ideally, we don't allow that. So because we want, I'm sure you understand your life situations quite intensely already. So having gone through that, we would ask you to take that call in the beginning itself. Okay. That, if you think that you might need a one-on-one, then you can sign up for that right now itself, right? Okay. Because I think we all know what is our life journey and how much more time we need to get out of that. So with that reason, we say that.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your questions. I'm sure everybody benefited from them. Anybody else? There was a question on somebody's child, right? We missed that.
Yeah, Kalpana is there. I think Kalpana has left. But I'll just like to take this opportunity to welcome Sunil, Nagananda, and Narayan to the program. Thank you and welcome. And we have, okay, Nidhi, thank you, welcome. So we have 2 more seats remaining now. Thank you very much.
Ashish,
yes.
Do we have a credit card payment?
Yes, I can share the link with you, Naveen. I'll have your number and email. I'll have this sent across to you tomorrow morning. Okay,
I would like to join. I'll pay by credit card.
Noted the same, Naveen.
Okay, note my name.
Yeah. Thank you. So friends, that leaves us with 1 seat now.
I also wanted to share something which Ashish said that, which really caught my attention. We start the program at 9 p.m., not just for only our people who are actively engaged, but for everybody. I had this old, very aged gentleman who was a part of our previous workshop. And he said, I have so much going on in my life. I think I'm busier than the busiest executive. So can you please start it at 9 p.m. so that I can finish all my commitments and be fully present? And also for all the lovely homemakers who are putting in so much effort for their families, you know. So they all wanted us to keep it at 9 p.m. So that's the reason we have kept it a little late. And for me, it'll be obviously afternoon because I am based in London. But yeah, that's the point.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
Prajakta.
Yes, yeah,
Hi.
okay.
Yeah, hi,
Good
Dr.
morning.
Nupur. So good to
Nice
see you
to
after a
see
long
you.
time. Hi,
I
Ashish.
know.
Hi.
I was so happy to see you both again.
Yeah.
So I think only one seat is remaining. So I'm not so sure about the timing as of now, but I think I'll go ahead and take
Thank
it.
you.
I'll somehow accommodate it. So
Welcome, Prajakta.
yeah,
Welcome. So happy to have you as a
thank
part of
you.
the program.
And I'm so happy to see you both again.
Lovely, lovely.
Thank you.
Welcome on board. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So on
Bye.
that
Thank you.
happy note, thank you. On that happy note, we
Thank
will
you.
close the call now. Thank you, everybody, for taking out time and joining us, and welcome you to the program. We will be
Yes.
launching on 18th, and we'll form the WhatsApp group on 15th, and that's when we will get active. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.